Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. This is going to be comments episode 20. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell. Leave more comments and we'll do more episodes just like this. Don't mind my wife, she's coming in right now. She's going to be doing laundry while I do this video, like just putting away laundry. So let's go ahead and get into it. In response to my President Nelson's hidden Chiasmus message, Suwami Nainen, I hope I got that right, says, "The picture of the burned Paradise, California chapel always makes my heart hurt. Such a beautiful ward community. The way the stake embraced all those of every faith who lost everything was absolutely touching." Yeah. Um, so that's the picture I have in the thumbnail, but it's actually in the talk itself. If you go to the church website and look up this uh, talk in the middle, you'll just have to watch that video to know which one I'm talking about. But um, he put that picture in there, and I feel like it was kind of like a reminder, possibly, of the time that we're in. We know that there's going to be some kind of great burning of the wicked as we move into the millennium. So make sure to check that video out. All these videos that we're going to be commenting on, I'm going to put those all in the description below. So if you want to like go and see what we're talking about, you can go watch that video. In response to comments episode 19, Betty Horn says, "I think there will be big things, but rarely." She's talking about like miracles happening, because a lot of what we talk about on this channel has to do with these alternate points of view of how the second coming is going to happen, and how miraculous it's going to be as far as like the signs of the times and the things that are supposed to happen. So she's saying, I think there will be big things, but rarely. Most will seem very mundane. It's up to us to pay attention. That seems to be the way the spirit always works. Yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree. Um, and even like, the Nephites, they had a sign that Christ was born, right? But still, not everybody was ready when he came to the Americas after his death. So sometimes there are big signs, and then we just like don't give them the appropriate credit that they deserve. I think about, for example, this is like burned into my memory. I think it was 2011 when there was that great tsunami that hit Japan, and it was on all the news. It was breaking news, and everybody was watching it. It was just like it looked like something from a movie. It really did, and the destruction was uh, there was a lot of destruction. It was crazy. It destroyed a lot of homes. It took lives. Um, and then here we are now, 20 years or 10 years later, if that was in 2011. I think it was 2011. And it's almost like no one remembers it. Same thing with the big tsunami that hit Indonesia while I was on my mission. And then there's all sorts of other things. It's like it happens, and then like we just kind of like forget about it. But I think that those are some of those bigger things, those bigger signs of the times that we need to pay attention to and kind of like put them all, together so we can see the big picture of what's going on. And then she also says, in response to the same video, "I would love to do a Zoom call. I don't know how much new info I have to add, but I have lots of opinions." Laugh out loud. Look, you don't have to add more or new information. If you do have any new information, that'd be great. But I think it'd be great just to talk to some of you on Zoom. And I'm talking about doing like a Zoom call and then putting it on the channel. So if anybody is interested in doing that, I've had you, excuse me, and also Tyler Cragun that said that he wanted to. Um, so just what you got to do is email me. The email address is my.christian.homestead@gmail.com. You can also find it under the About tab of the main page for my channel. Email me. We'll set up a time. If you'd really like to, then I'd be up for that. I like talking to different people, getting different opinions, different perspectives. So we can make that happen. In response to the UK youth broadcast, Second Coming, Calling Election Made Sure. Chris Wright says, I thought to share this quote after listening to your enthusiastic and inspirational rendering of our youth conference with the three apostles. Thank you, as always, for your effort and caring. Calling an election made sure, the sure word of prophecy. Joseph had taught the same principle, in other words, the preceding Sunday. He tried to help the saints understand the difference between having a testimony that one can be saved if they obeyed the gospel, and gaining the testimony that one had been saved because they obeyed the gospel. Could say if they obeyed the gospel, and getting the testimony that one had been saved because they obeyed the gospel. Step one is to gain a testimony of Christ and the possibility of salvation, Joseph taught. That was just the beginning of the quest of knowledge of God, which to Joseph was the equivalent of power over sin and death. Quote, they would then want the more sure word of prophecy that they were sealed in the heavens and had the promise of eternal life in the kingdom of God. End quote. Thank you for sharing that. That's good information. I'd like to know exactly where that comes from. I don't know if this is the title right here of the article or where you got this. Calling an election made sure, and then in parentheses, the sure word of prophecy. But thank you for sharing that. In response to comments, episode 19, Robin Rush says, Wayne May, I don't think he passed unless it was just recently. He just did a video recently, a couple months ago, that I came across. I sure hope he hasn't passed. No, I think either I misspoke or you didn't understand. I was talking about my dad. I think my dad is the one that passed away in 2015. I think he knew Wayne May. I know, at least because my dad like did some different things. He didn't have a YouTube channel, but he was like in this forum, and he had like a group of guys that they would like go out and look at petroglyphs and do stuff like that. And I think he knew Wayne May. So that's what I meant to say. No, I'm not saying that Wayne May is dead. Thanks for the comment. I hope that clarifies what I was trying to say. In response to the UK youth broadcast, K. Axandy, K. K. Axandy, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, I love this one. I loved that they continue to warn. How can anyone miss their message that the second coming is close? So many people close to me just choose to ignore, but I think the general authorities are sending an undeniable message that the time is close. I know. It's like talk after talk after talk after devotional after Leah Hona article after it's just like nonstop. I don't know how people are not getting this or not taking it serious or thinking that, oh no, it's still so far away. I don't understand it. Thanks for the comment. In response to the same video, Sam Lee says, I want to see the aftermath of the Christmas lights. Smiley face. You know, I wanted to do a video to show that, but it doesn't show up on my camera, on my phone camera. So I don't think that's going to be a possibility, but it looks nice. Sorry. The colors are a little bit more muted than I had anticipated. So it kind of looks like more vintagey hues and tones of green and red. But it still looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. If I can figure out some way to share that to where you can see the colors, then I'll share that. But it
Maybe
just
we could do a home tour and a stuff once we get the house clean and all.
talk loud.
Maybe we can do a home tour once we get the house all clean and the village up and the lights up outside, and we can. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we're still putting Christmas up. It's not all the way up. We still have a few more things, including the Christmas village, which we have a pretty big Christmas village, and I want to do a video just on that, but I'll probably do like a home tour so you can see all of our stuff. In response to President Nelson's hidden Chiasmus message, Arith Litharaga Olascawaga says, don't take this the wrong way. I already don't like how this is starting out, it reads. I'm not angry. This is just a question. Are you going to make a video mentioning the sources from that post that mentions the Lembas, Misos, Cookies? That's a good one. The Cookies, Karens. Oh no, there's a tribe of Karens out there, uh, and Chiangs and other prospective Israel descended tribes. Yes, I am. It's just gonna take time. The thing is like there's like I have like a backlog of different videos that I want to do. I know I've kind of taken a break from doing the 10 lost tribes, but I absolutely do want to do all these things. I just don't know when. I'm just kind of like filling it out day by day. But I so I'm putting together that playlist that talks about the 10 lost tribes and about these very real people right now that we know about on the earth that have a tradition of being descended from Israel and the 10 lost tribes. I plan on doing that playlist for a while because I think there's a lot of stuff to uncover and a lot to talk about. So don't worry, I'll get there sooner or later. Maybe I'll even try and do one today, but we'll just see how it goes. In response to keys at keys at Adam-ondi-Ahman, uh, Mia Martine or My Martine, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Starts off with like the emoji with like the hands like this. So I then she says, if you consider the parables of the 10 virgins and the talents, not everyone who has been given the keys is worthy of them, or hasn't used them with righteousness or prayerful wisdom. So it would make sense that it would make sense that everyone lost their calling. Um, to have them quickly redistributed to the worthy and righteous, especially since not everyone here on earth is who they present themselves to be, wolves in sheep's clothing. And I would even go a step further and say narcissists, people that are trying to get attention, power, praise, mostly attention, and they do it in a variety of ways. And there are religious narcissists. Just think about the Pharisees that did what they did because they wanted attention and praise. Um, and then she continues, and as Elder Jeffrey R. Holland stated in his Lord I Believe talk, um, quote, in the case of his only begotten son, imperfect people are all gods ever had to work with. Yeah. And then after that he said that must be terribly frustrating. I think he said that in the same talk.
Yes.
Um yeah. Well, I just don't know if he okay, whatever. So um yeah, that would make sense. I still don't have a very clear picture of exactly how everything's going to happen at Adam-ondi-Ahman. I think I've switched my point of view that yeah, I guess you could say that it hasn't happened yet because I think the fundamental structure of the church structure of the church may actually change after that. Um, I don't know. Maybe we'll still have the same offices, or maybe there will be something new. All I can really say is that the keys are going to go back, and it would seem to me that uh, the wise virgins are going to be the only ones that are there, and it's going to initiate kind of like a new church or a new phase of the church. So I don't know. That's something I'm gonna have to study a lot more. But I do definitely agree that there's wolves in sheep's clothing in the church, or in other words, there are tares that are among us, right? The wheat and the tares, um, sheep and goats. So um, now we do know that those who are at least living a terrestrial um, law are going to move on into the millennium. I don't know if terrestrial level people would go to Adam-ondi-Ahman. I don't know if that's only for celestial level people that are currently living a celestial law and are considered righteous. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people in the church that are, well, not. I mean, I don't mean like a lot, like but like there's probably a substantial portion of people in the church that have keys but are living a terrestrial law. Like they may put on a good face when they go to church and stuff, but behind the scenes they're doing a lot of bad things, and I've seen that. I've seen that in my own life. Um, so I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. Um, yeah. All right. Thank you for your comment. Moving on. Uh, in my interview with the last dispensation, Bob D says, absolutely loved this video. It is really nice to listen to like-minded people who are looking and actually anticipating his second coming. Uh, raising your Jersey cows. You mentioned you have a Jersey bull on your homestead. Yeah. Um, I have a longtime friend who exclusively raised the Jerseys for their cream content. Um, whenever he had to move the bulls around, he always used his trained dogs and would never get into the corral with them, as they would get very mean. And he knew men who got seriously injured by the Jersey bulls. Unlike the Hereford, which is a breed, unlike the Hereford or Holstein or Black Angus, the Jersey bulls can be very dangerous, especially if um, they fully mature. Please be careful. Love your channel. Let's all be watchers as we warn our neighbors about his coming very soon, in my opinion. Yeah, I know that about Jersey bulls. I've heard other people talk about it, so I think it'll be okay. Uh, I'm definitely going to be careful. That's for sure. I don't know if like we're gonna just like maybe we'll keep him just until we know that he's successfully bred with our heifer. Um, and then after that, maybe we would sell him or uh, maybe even get him processed. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I am aware of that, and I appreciate your concern. I will definitely be careful. Thank you. Oh, and then he puts another comment here. Um, are your ancestors of Welsh descent? Yes, they are. Uh, quite a few of them. It's on my dad's side, and it's mostly English and Welsh. That's like the vast majority on his side. Uh, I served as a young elder in the England Southwest mission many years ago. It included all of South Wales. I love the Welsh people, and they can sing. He puts sing in uppercase letters. Uh, did you know that almost 100% of the Tabernacle Choir, when they were first organized, were of Welsh ancestry? No, I did not. How well can you sing? Laugh out loud. Uh, Davies sure sounds like a Welsh surname, but I could be wrong. It actually is. It's Welsh in nature. It's derived from the name David, um, and it's basically the same name as Davis. Davis is just like a variation, Davis, whereas mine is Davies. So yeah, it does come from there. It comes from Wales, um, and I think I read because I studied it a long time ago, and I think it's like a pretty common name in Wales. But yeah, as far as singing goes, I don't know about that. I like to sing, but like I don't think I'm very good at singing. I don't think I have a very good voice for it. Um, I was actually thinking up like a country song recently. My wife and I were like we were listening to like the radio, listening to country stations, and I like country music. And I was just like it came to my mind. I came up with like my own little song. It's like um, I only got a couple acres. All I need is a homemaker. Um, gosh dang it, how's it go? Oh, no, okay. I only got a couple acres, and all I need is a sweet homemaker because it feels like the whole world when you're here with me. I can't believe it either. Anybody want to sign me, like get a contract and I'll sign up? Okay. Betty Horn, in response to the UK Youth broadcast, says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Putting the links on my feed so I don't lose them. Very good. In response to my interview with the last dispensation, TR says, we buy a quarter cow from a local farmer once a year for a family of 5. A whole cow would be so much meat with a black heart. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll try it out. Maybe we'll just like uh I don't know what we're gonna do. I kind of like the idea of like giving some meat for free to our friends because like family and friends because that's what we do with our chicken eggs a lot of the time. Maybe we'll sell some. I have no idea, but thanks for that information. Um, all right, Tyler Cragun in response to my Revelation 12, the woman, the child, the wilderness video that I did yesterday. He says, "Thank you for clarifying this aspect of last days prophecy. People need to be so careful with how they study doctrine, especially how they study the last days. There's so much bad information out there that gets perpetuated by people who just don't know better. It complicates something that should be more simple. It gets people to look at the wrong things. When it comes to misunderstandings like this, I don't blame people for being hesitant or skeptical about second coming discussions. I get so nervous about creating my own content because I worry that I'll become part of the problem, uh, like a couple of YouTuber channels that will remain nameless. Though I think the real issue is too many people put so much weight on certain people's interpretation of Scripture, and they don't thoroughly study it themselves. Keep up the good work, Jared. Thank you so much. Again, Tyler, if you want to, let me just look at your channel here. Looks like you had, yeah, so this must be some of the content that you're talking about. It looks like, so Tyler has, excuse me, Tyler has a few videos here. Looks like they're about a year old, if not older, but maybe I'll check this out sometime. I didn't realize. Um, in fact, I'll put a link for your channel below if people want to go check you out. Um, yeah, see, I agree. Yeah, people need to be careful how they study. And so the approach that I want to take, okay, is for any given claim that I've heard in like these second coming timeline videos, I want to like go back and see if the church already has an interpretation of that scripture. And so far, it seems to be that that's pretty much always the case. A good resource for that is one, just look at the chapter heading. With that Revelation 12, that's all you need to do. It's like the first thing you read on the chapter heading. It tells you what the context of that chapter. And then 2, look at the footnotes of the scriptures. And then 3, go to like church study manuals. And I like to go to like the institute manual, but there's also seminary manuals and there's other manuals. So I think a lot of people don't want to do that stuff because it's boring, and they just want to like get into like what they think is the exciting stuff or like the secret code that they think that they cracked. Um, so I think it's okay to put out content, and but I think you should be careful with like saying, "Oh, this is how it is. This is doctrine," um, without like showing the source and sometimes even the church itself doesn't have exact explanations for all the scripture, so it's up to anybody's interpretation. And so I think that you should always say when you're guessing at something, speculating, or and then also have sources and use church sources, because I think a lot of people are getting confused by other churches like evangelicals and other people that have their interpretations, because that's how they look at Revelation 12. They think that it hasn't happened yet. They don't see it the same way that we do, where the dragon, it's talking about the pre-existence, and it's talking about when Christ came the first time. The woman is the church that fled into the wilderness, or in other words, there was the great apostasy, and now she's come back, and it talks about that all the time in D&C. So if you're someone that watches a lot of other um, channels from other Christian religions, then you should be careful. Make sure that you understand our interpretation first. And Just look at the chapter headings and these other sources. Yeah, again, Tyler, if you want to do a Zoom, I don't know if you still want to, but email me at my.christian.homestead@gmail.com and we can get that set up. I'd love to talk to you. In response to the UK youth broadcast, Brother Guerrero from the Brother Guerrero channel says, I'm about to watch that video. Sounds very powerful. I'm actually going to be having an interview with him on Wednesday. So I'll just put that video out once that's done. Um, and we're just going to talk about General Conference. And I'm sure a lot of different things will come up. I'm sure it'll be a good conversation. In response to my Revelation 12 video, Betty Horn says, I think I learned this a while back, especially the part of Joseph Smith's translation. Uh, so she's talking about how in Revelation 12, it talks about the woman um, fleeing or being taken into the wilderness for 1,260 days. And in the Joseph Smith translation, it says years, which makes a whole lot of sense knowing that the woman represents the early church and the apostasy and how much time took place between when she was there and then when she came back. Not that it's like an exact number either, I don't think. But anyway, let's continue. It makes perfect sense to me. And it's one of the many reasons I don't do timelines or even try to. I think I've said before, Christ taught us to look for the signs, to notice them, not try to calculate it out. Yeah, yeah. Because the thing is, like, I'm starting to get the sense that a lot of these numbers are not actual numbers that you can use to calculate. That they may be conveying a concept, a spiritual concept, or an idea, number symbolism, right? Because a lot of these numbers they add up to like 3.5 years, and you know that 3.5 is half of 7, right? So it may be simply a spiritual concept that's being explained. Like there's all these different numbers in the scriptures that you have like 3, you have 4, you have 12 and 13, 7 of course, 6. Um, there was another one I was just thinking of. Oh yeah, 40. 40 days, 40 nights. But I'm not sure that that's an actual supposed to be an actual amount of time that something happened, but rather it has a meaning, like a meaning of like testing, trying, and so forth. So I think it's okay to try and do it, but just with a grain of salt. Just with a grain of salt. I yeah, I'm starting to like distance myself from like the all the different timelines that I've heard. Like I think some things are correct, but I'm not going to put too much weight into that. In response to the same video, um, Barbara Hale says a possible interpretation of 1,260 years and not days. Maybe 1,260 years marks the beginning of the Renaissance. Um, if you have if you add 1,260 years from the time of the apostasy, um, it would be about the time of the beginning of the Renaissance. Yeah, because like if you say that the apostasy was about like 100 years after Christ, um, that would take you to 1360 AD, which that would be roughly the beginning of the Renaissance. Um, it could be argued that the Renaissance was the first step for the gospel to be restored. Uh, the creative open thought of the Renaissance opened the way to religious reformers, printing press, and we know that the printing press was a big deal. Um, the Bible made available for individuals, establishment of individual freedoms, etc. Now, see that's a pretty good point. Um, of course, it's speculation, but um, that is a bit of speculation that makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I really appreciate that comment. That's really interesting to think about, and that could be right. In response to the same video, Rianne B says, on the Nauvoo temple, the stars are above the sunstones and the moonstones are below. My understanding is that this is in reference to that verse in the book of Revelation. Uh, I took a master class on the Book of More of. Oh, sorry. I took a master class on the Book of Revelation, and though I'm still curious about what all the symbolism means, uh, I've been asking myself, what was it in the Lord? What was it? What was it that the Lord wanted me to learn about this passage that might help me to be more prepared? I appreciate what you do. I'm really careful about which YouTube videos I watch now. Well, thanks for that information. And yes, I would be careful. I think they should. I think it's good to maybe watch them all, um, and just use your best judgment. But use the church's interpretations. I think that's the theme of this video. You have all these people putting together timelines and thinking about different things. Look at first and see what the church says about any given concept, and have that be your anchor in reality. Um, so now, yeah, I didn't know. I don't think I specifically knew that about the Nauvoo Temple. I had heard that before about the Salt Lake Temple, because the Salt Lake Temple is the same thing. Uh, I looked it up yesterday just to confirm, but I had heard that before about the Salt Lake Temple, about the stars being above the star stones being above the sun stones and the moon stones, and that being related to this. And that would make sense. That would make sense. I also, when I saw your comment the first time, I looked it up on the Navi Temple because I wanted to see it, and so it's really cool. It's a really cool thing. All right, so that ends this episode. That's all your comments. Um, thank you all for sharing your thoughts and opinions and speculation and sources of information. Um, If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you liked it, hit the notification bell. Leave more comments. We'll do more episodes just like this. And I'll talk to you guys later.